the hidden weight you're carrying, why complexity is killing your joy. We all want to be happy, but the more we chase happiness, the more it seems to escape us. We try to earn it through success, collect it through things, or manufacture it through endless stimulation. And yet, we often feel heavy, anxious, restless. Why? Because we're carrying too much. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We've built lives filled with noise, clutter, distraction, and obligation. And we've convinced ourselves this is the cost of a full life. But what if that's a lie? What if the very complexity we think gives our life meaning is the thing draining it of joy? Here's the truth: happiness doesn't come from adding more. It comes from needing less. From peeling back the layers and returning to something ancient and elegant: simplicity. That's the secret we've forgotten. And today, I want to help you remember it not just intellectually, but viscerally. Because once you simplify, you don't just feel lighter, you feel free.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
We live in a world designed to keep us overwhelmed. Our devices scream for attention. Our calendars are stuffed with obligations. Our minds are filled with comparisons, goals, fears, and expectations. And our hearts, often lost in the chaos. But here's the philosophical dilemma. If happiness is what we seek, why do we fill our lives with things that make peace impossible? It's because we confuse more with meaning. We think the fuller the schedule, the fuller the life. But fullness is not richness. It's often the opposite. Think of a glass of water. When it's too full, it spills. When it's half full, it's calm, usable, stable. Our lives are the same. Simplicity isn't boring, it's balance. It's clarity. It's the space between moments where we actually feel present. So I ask you, when was the last time your life felt simple, and in that simplicity, deeply satisfying? If you can't remember, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been trained to complicate everything. Philosophers from every tradition have praised simplicity. Lao Tzu said, "To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day." Marcus Aurelius warned about being tied to too many things. Thoreau went to the woods to live deliberately. Why do all these mind-spanning cultures and centuries come to the same truth? Because simplicity isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's a spiritual one. It's a decision to live by essence, not excess. When we simplify, we begin to see what truly matters. The sound of rain, the warmth of a hug, the pleasure of breathing deeply with no rush. These are not luxuries. They are life. But we miss them when we're sprinting from one dopamine hit to the next. So here's the challenge. Can you slow down enough to notice what's already beautiful? Can you simplify enough to feel what's already enough? Because happiness doesn't need to be manufactured. It only needs to be uncovered. Let's get practical. What are the things in your life that create the illusion of importance but steal your presence? Is it the endless stream of notifications? The mindless scrolling? The clutter in your home or the clutter in your head? Simplicity starts with subtraction, and subtraction starts with honesty. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What are you saying yes to out of fear, guilt, or habit? These are not small questions. They are doorways. Because once you stop performing for a world that's not paying attention, you begin to hear your own voice again. And that voice is quiet, but clear. It doesn't need much. It just needs space. Simplicity isn't about minimalism for the sake of aesthetics. It's about making room for what's real. And what's real is often small, still, and sacred. So I ask you again, what would your life look like if you removed everything unnecessary? And now we arrive at the heart of the matter. The reason simplifying your life can make you happier immediately is because it removes the static. And beneath that static, happiness has been there all along. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to chase it. You just have to stop drowning it in noise. The moment you let go of one obligation, one toxic habit, one mental loop, you feel it, a little more space to breathe, to think, to be. That's the magic. It's not flashy. It's not loud. But it's real. And it's available right now. Not after you reach your goals. Not after you buy the next thing. Right now. So here's your invitation. Simplify one thing today. Just one. And watch what happens. Watch how your body relaxes. Watch how your mind opens. Watch how your soul begins to remember what it feels like to be alive, not as a machine, but as a human. Because that's what simplicity gives back to you, yourself. The philosophy of enough, why letting go is the fastest way to joy. There's a quiet revolution waiting inside a single word, enough. Not as a form of resignation, but as a radical philosophical stance. Enough is the moment you stop chasing. Enough is where anxiety ends and peace begins. But how do we arrive at enough in a world that constantly screams for more? More money, more followers, more speed, more goals. The lie is seductive. If you just had a little more, then you'd finally feel fulfilled. But fulfillment doesn't come from accumulation, it comes from alignment. Simplicity is the path to that alignment. When you let go of what you don't need, you start to feel what you already have. But to accept enough, you first have to confront your fear. The fear that you'll be left behind. The fear that you'll miss out. The fear that you're not already worthy. So ask yourself, what are you still chasing and who told you it would make you whole? Letting go isn't loss. It's liberation. Every item, every commitment, every thought you release is one less thing you have to serve. Because we don't own our possessions own us. We don't hold on to our fears hold us. Simplicity is not about deprivation. It's about intention. You're not giving up joy. You're removing the noise that's been blocking it. Imagine a room filled with furniture you don't even like. You can't move freely. You can't breathe. That's your inner life when it's filled with unnecessary wants. Now imagine removing piece by piece until there's space, until there's light, until the room feels like you. That's what happens when you simplify your inner world. You begin to recognize what belongs. You begin to see clearly, and clarity is freedom. Clarity is joy. So what furniture are you still carrying that no longer fits the life you actually want? The philosopher Epicurus taught that the happiest life is the simplest one, not because it lacks pleasure, but because it understands pleasure. He said, "Nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little." This is the core of the crisis we're in. We've been conditioned to believe that happiness is a future event, something waiting on the other side of more. But what if it's a present reality waiting on the other side of less? Think about it. How many of your problems are actually problems of excess? Too many choices, too much information, too many expectations. The solution isn't always to add more structure. Sometimes it's to subtract the chaos. And in that subtraction, you'll begin to feel something ancient and rare, contentment. Not the sedation of settling, but the fire of knowing you are finally aligned with what matters. So again, I ask, what if the thing you're missing is hidden behind the things you refuse to let go of? Let's bring this down to earth. Simplicity is not about living in a cabin in the woods, unless that's your calling. It's about designing your life around what feeds your soul, not your ego. Start with your morning. Is it filled with purpose or pressure? What if you remove just one thing that drains your energy? What if you stop checking your phone the moment you wake up? What if you chose silence before stimulation? These aren't small changes. These are sacred rituals. Then move to your home. Which objects actually support your peace and which ones are just visual noise? Then your calendar. Which obligations align with who you're becoming and which ones are just fear in disguise? This process isn't about perfection. It's about returning. Returning to your center, to your breath, to your truth. Every small act of letting go is a return to clarity, to sanity, to joy. And here's the deepest truth. Simplicity isn't just about things, it's about identity. When you stop needing to prove something to the world, you start living from something deeper. You stop performing and start being. You stop chasing worth and start discovering it within. This is the core of all wisdom traditions from Stoicism to Zen to Christianity. The path to joy is not in grabbing more of the world, but in releasing your grip on it. And the moment you do, something breathtaking happens. Your senses awaken, your breath deepens, your awareness sharpens. You begin to see how rich the present moment actually is. And in that moment, you don't need more. You feel the miracle of enough. So I'll leave you with this. What would it feel like to stop trying to become more and simply allow yourself to be enough? Stillness is the goal, how simplicity awakens the deepest kind of happiness. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's the most profound form of presence. It's the space where real happiness lies, but it's also the space we fear the most. Why? Because in stillness, there's nothing to distract us from ourselves. And if we're being honest, many of us have built complicated lives as a way to avoid that confrontation. We fill the silence with notifications, the weekends with noise, the mind with endless loops of thought, because we're terrified of what we might find if we actually paused. But the irony is, what we're trying to avoid is the very thing we need most. Stillness is where integration happens, where the fragments of our attention come back together. It's where we remember that we are not machines. We are not algorithms. We are not products of productivity. We are human beings, and being requires space. Simplicity is the path to stillness, and stillness is the gateway to peace. So much of our modern suffering is self-inflicted through excess. We are overstimulated, overcommitted, overcomplicating everything. And yet, the deepest kind of happiness doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing less, and doing it with full presence. Think of the happiest moments you've ever experienced. Were they loud? Did they involve achievement? Or did they often occur in quiet places on a walk, in a conversation, watching the sunrise, holding someone's hand? These moments are not coincidences. They are revelations. They show us that joy is not a future reward, it's a present capacity. But to access it, we must slow down. We must clear the mental room where joy can enter. That's what simplicity gives us, access. access to ourselves, to the moment, to the mystery of being alive in a body, breathing, sensing, feeling. And that kind of access, it's priceless. The Stoics had a phrase, eupatheia, a good flow of emotion, grounded in reason. Not the chaotic highs and lows of unexamined desire, but a calm, centered joy that comes from living in alignment with nature and values. Simplicity is the condition for eupatheia. Without it, we're torn between 50 competing desires, none of which bring peace. But when we simplify, when we narrow our focus to what truly matters, truth, virtue, connection, beauty, we begin to feel that flow. It's not a spike of dopamine. It's a deep, steady current of contentment. It's walking through life without rushing. It's not needing to impress anyone. It's finding fullness in the ordinary. And here's the paradox: when you stop trying to make every moment extraordinary, you begin to see how extraordinary each moment already is. The laughter of a child, the taste of tea, the silence between songs. This is the simplicity that awakens us, not by adding wonder, but by revealing it. Let's not pretend this is easy. Simplicity is a practice, a discipline. It requires you to say no to things that everyone else is saying yes to. It means you don't chase every trend. You don't fill every calendar slot. You don't measure your life by how much you achieve, but by how deeply you live. And that will make you strange, even threatening. Because when you step out of the race, people will ask if you're falling behind. But falling behind what? Exactly? A life you don't want to live? A version of success that never made you happy? Simplicity is rebellion. It's choosing presence over pressure. It's choosing depth over breadth. It's choosing to live awake, not asleep in a dream someone else sold you. So I ask you, if you stop trying to keep up, what would you finally have time to feel? And now we come full circle. How simplifying your life can make you happier immediately is not just a catchy title, it's a profound truth hidden in plain sight. The moment you simplify, the moment you remove one piece of unnecessary weight, you feel it: relief, lightness, breathing room. That feeling is happiness. Not a fantasy of perfection, but the reality of presence. And the best part, you don't have to wait. You don't have to earn it. You don't need permission. You just need to begin. Right here. Right now. With one small act of subtraction, one intentional pause. One moment of remembering who you are beneath all the noise. Because you are not your to-do list. You are not your status. You are not the sum of what you own. You are a living mystery. A witness to beauty. A being designed not just to survive, but to feel. And simplicity is how we return to that feeling. So I'll leave you with this final question. What would your life feel like if you stopped trying to fill it and simply chose to live it?